Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Tropical Edition. First area of business is Philippe. Tropical Storm Philippe is likely to morph into an extratropical low and combine forces with a couple of synoptic low-pressure systems, taking aim on New England, Nova Scotia, and New Brunswick this weekend into early next week. You can see it combining into a massive low-pressure system well inland here across Quebec and retrograding westward. We'll take a look at the impacts expected out of this system, along with a hurricane that could be forming here in the eastern Pacific and may actually spin up a massive area of storminess here into the Gulf of Mexico next week. We're going to take a look at all the details here, along with your pattern change. Let's get into it. Taking a look at the satellite photo here, you can see, look at this loop. This is looking more like a comma-shaped rather than a tropical system. I do suspect that, extratropical transition may have already begun. So this is something we'll have to keep an eye on here, but it is a massive system. One thing to note, it's resembling more like a nor'easter as time goes on. I do want to mention, I am aware my audio is a bit muffled, and I do have a new microphone coming, so hopefully I can get that installed and see if that's going to fix the problem. So starting off with the European model, and then we'll transition to the GFS. You can see this blocking high over Newfoundland here. As we head into your Friday, take a look at this. It is actually impacting parts of Bermuda, actually the entire island of Bermuda for that matter. You can see it's a rather large circulation. You actually see almost like a double barrel low forming out of Philippe here. So this system actually becoming a bit more extratropical even by later Friday into Saturday. Take a look at this big, massive circulation. So yeah, some of you have actually said the previous video in the comments section, this is going to be more like a nor'easter. Well, yeah, you're actually correct on that because, by this point, the system will be becoming extratropical. It'll be really looking like a comma-shaped. However, the problem with this is it's still going to have that wind field, blowing out here. So, most of you are used to these big-time nor'easters here in the Northeast and the Canadian Maritimes, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. However, this is a very large circulation, so there will be some impacts here. Not to say this is going to be the blockbuster of the year storm, definitely not by any means, but it is. Yeah, you can see here, it's got a lot of moisture, and that is the thing I'm really concerned about is the really heavy flooding rain. This is falling in an area where Lee already went through earlier, and this is actually we've had quite a few storm systems that actually went through here recently as well. So you can see this is the 8th, so this is Sunday morning right here at 2 a.m. You can see the center circulation bending just to the east here. That's with response to a quicker retreat of that high-pressure system to the northeast. So that's going to allow the system to bend a little bit back towards the east. So that puts New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, extreme eastern parts of Maine here into more of that eastern quadrant. But at this point, it's becoming extratropical, so it's a little less pronounced. You can see, though, that center circulation, so any water piling up and stuff, that's going to happen on the east side of the system. You can see 5 a.m. on Sunday morning. The center is literally just entering, especially the eastern part of the circulation, Bay of Fundy. Now, you can see it's 984 millibars. That's actually pretty impressive. So we're going to be dealing with a strong area of low pressure here. So for those of you, look at this. Wow. So it's inland by 8 a.m., so it is moving very fast. That's the only saving grace for this rainfall pattern. Look at this, moving inland by 8 p.m. It's all the way up, well north of Montreal, well into inland part. Let's see, that's 982 millibars. There's going to be a tremendous amount of wind gusts just blasting around this thing. So it is going to be a blustery day. Rain showers just circulating around this area of low pressure. It's got a lot of tropical moisture on the east end funneling just east of Nova Scotia here. So as you continue to look at that low pressure just keeps retrograding west, and I'll show you momentarily on the synoptic outlook what's going to happen with that. We got a few areas of interest behind Philippe here as we head towards October 9. So we'll keep an eye, possibly another storm out here, potentially by the Azores. So yeah, the intertropical convergence zone, you can see we are looking at the potential for another system out here as well. Look at this. So let's just put this into motion. You can see by about, there it is, the 11th. So next week, right around the middle of next week, we could have another system. You can see the European model recurving it up towards the Azores, though. So things staying busy here. So far, that looks like it may not impact land. Now, over here, before we get into the GFS, I want to show you what is happening here in the Eastern Pacific. As we head towards the 8th, later part of the weekend into the 9th, look what's happening here. Let's just go back. So right around the 8th and the 9th, we get this big spin up here in the Eastern Pacific. This could become a hurricane or even a strong tropical storm. Look at the crossover potential, though. You see the energy transfer from the 10th to the 11th. Look how this just blows up over the Gulf of Mexico. This is something we need to definitely keep an eye on here. And look at how this moves to the northeast. Yeah, this could be a big rainmaker. There's the area of low pressure. It looks kind of weak, but this could actually pack a punch. Look at this as it moves towards the southeast. This could be concerning with extremely flooding rains. Look at that. And that pulls out over the open Atlantic Friday the 13th here, as our next system, thankfully, looks like it's going to kick it out of the picture. But that could actually become tropical as well. And I wanted to show you something behind that storm. Take a look at our storm out here, Tropical Storm Lydia. Look what it starts to happen here by the 10th. This is pretty interesting. Look at this. So that rounds the bend, the 10th, the 11th. It actually heads right in the direction of the resort towns of Mexico. And this could actually cross over potentially into the Gulf of Mexico as well. Look at that. That is the 14th. So this is something we definitely need to keep an eye on. This is a trend. And here is the GFS model. So here it is with Philippe. We'll see what the GFS does with Philippe first. Pushing it towards the north. Look at Friday. Yeah, it's going to be a bad day here in Bermuda. Off the East Coast, the swells will be kicking up. There's our area of high pressure. Here is the U.S. East Coast, and there's New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Let's take a look. This system's going to race towards the north. You can see also 2 low pressure systems associated with Philippe here. That's kind of crazy. But this system will be coming extratropical. There's actually a low pressure out here ahead of Philippe. So the GFS not merging this into one until landfall early. Well, yeah, right around, 6, 7, 8 a.m. Eastern coastline of Maine here. So there it is. Lots of moisture being brought up inland. Look how fast this is moving to the west, though. Retrograde back west here as this blocking high kicks that system to the west there. This Greenland block, I'll be showing you in a couple moments is exactly how strong that's going to be. But there it is, retrograding westward here. And if we go back to the rest of the tropics here, looks a little quieter behind. Let's look at our system out here becoming pretty healthy by the 8th out near the Cape Verde Islands. Here is the Cape Verde Islands, the coast of Africa over here. And here we put this into motion. Let's take a look. There it is. So initiating a low pressure system. GFS by the 14th, taking this up much weaker around an area of high pressure. So if we take a look at the rest of the tropics here, Caribbean, you will have some showers. Let's take a look at the rest of the week into the weekend. You will have some showers pushing up around the 8th or 9th through Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. The big story, though, is going to be right over the Gulf of Mexico as we potentially get this crossover system. So let's just back up here. Here is our potential hurricane, tropical storm. There is the energy transfer, the 11th into the 12th. There's an area of low pressure. Now, the GFS is further north. Here it is. It's feeding right into this synoptic system up here in the Ohio Valley. So that's something we got to keep an eye on. That could enhance precipitation. Just a real wet time of it here across the East Coast. Look at that. So this could be tropical or subtropical in nature here, something we're going to have to keep an eye on. And then another one, with Lydia here, potentially crossing back over here across the Yucatan. Maybe this one heading into the Caribbean. GFS kind of, what did we happen there? Let's just go back up here. We kind of lost it. Not sure what happened there. There we go. Okay, so there's the Caribbean. There is the Cayman Islands. Lots of tropical moisture as we head towards the 17th. We'll have to keep an eye on it. Could we have tropical development here along the East Coast as well come mid-October? So as we take a look at the HRRR, or HWRF, I should say, model here, we'll take a look at the HRRR momentarily here, but we'll take a look at the 12Z. There we go. So watching the system as we go into motion, there is Philippe moving into the Bermuda area. This is around 5 a.m. on Friday. You can see this moving towards the north, right over the island of Bermuda, a little bit east of guidance here. There is the New England coastline here, Cape Cod, eastern tip of Maine, New Brunswick, and Nova Scotia. So watch what happens here. Our hurricane model's doing a pretty good job here, right down the middle. Here's 11 p.m. on Saturday evening, Saturday night. There is landfall. So this system moving into the, right at the mouth here of the Bay of Fundy. Lots of the eastern bands moving well, and then lots of flooding rains I'm concerned about here. We'll go over rainfall amounts momentarily here, but yeah, the good news is this is going to be moving fast. That's going to bring the wind gusts in, though, for sure. 980 millibars here on the HWRF model. This is a lot of moisture associated with the storm, so a lot of rain is going to be falling. A lot of wind gusts, 20, 30, 40, 50 plus miles per hour in some areas, especially near the coastline. Look how this is racing inland by this point. The HWRF model is a little bit north of the European and the GFS model here. And I wanted to show you sea surface temperature anomalies here because these storms along the East Coast, Lee, all these storms previous brought up a lot of upwelling and used up a lot of the warm water. So Philippe is going to complete its extratropical transition much quicker than Lee did. Look at the Gulf, though. It's like bathwater. MDR, Caribbean, it's all bathwater. So let's take a look at the European run here for precipitation. We'll just take this weekend first. There it is into the northeast. Look at that heavy rain associated with Philippe going extratropical, combining with that inland cyclone. Tremendous amounts of rain, even in the Ohio Valley, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch. But the big story is going to be the Hudson Valley on northeastward here, where you could see upwards of 2 to maybe 4+ inches of rain. Some areas locally higher, 5 to... Look at the parts of Quebec, though. This is on the order. You're going to definitely get over 100 to 150 millimeters here into parts of central Quebec, where you could, approach some extreme flooding here. That's not looking very good as this low kind of just winds up over Quebec and eventually Ontario. Now, next week, the Ohio Valley, we start to pile on that overrunning precipitation upwards of 1.5 inches to 2 inches, maybe 2 inch plus. There's that system coming out of the Gulf the middle of next week, later part of next week. That could bring some very heavy rain up into parts of Florida and the southern states, maybe 4 to 8 inches of rain. So looking at our rainfall here across the northeast, you see initially 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch Friday into early Saturday across the Ohio Valley. Parts of upstate New York, you could be getting 1 to 2 inches out of this. Look at, though, from Saturday evening into Sunday, Hudson Valley to New York City. Look at that. That's a lot of moisture. 3.5, 4 inches of rain from New York City to Albany to Burlington, all the way up to Quebec City and beyond. Another area of heavy rain into Maine, 2 to 3+ inches. This is not looking good. Flooding is a distinct possibility here. So we head into next week. We're just going to add Friday the 13th into the 14th next weekend. We're just going to add rainfall on top of this. So our Canadian rainfall here, let's take a look. Yeah, this is a lot of rain. Quebec, Ontario, 100 to 150 millimeters. That's upwards of 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 inches. Also the west coast of Canada, 100 to 150 millimeters as well. Caribbean, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Central America. So as we head through late weekend, look at, you're getting some showers, thunder showers here in Jamaica. That's great news. 20 to 30, 40 millimeters, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Then we get another surge the middle of next week, right around the 10th and 11th. That's going to pile 60, 70, maybe 80 millimeters. Another 2, 2.5, close to 3 inches. Look at the Gulf, though. That's where we're getting over 100 millimeters plus. That's going to be a solid 4 to 8 inches. And as we get into the Eastern Caribbean here, look at this. Yeah, that's interesting. Trinidad, Tobago, northward to the Central Lesser Antilles, about 40 to 60 millimeters over the next couple days this weekend. That's a good solid, 1 to 2.5 inches. And then as we continue in time, we get a drying trend taking place here across the Eastern Caribbean. So for the Western Pacific here, we are dealing with a typhoon. This is Typhoon Koinu here. This system is on its way away from Taiwan. Eventually, it's just going to skim the coastlines here of South China over the next several days. Just going to be a big rainmaker, a big old problem here. Eventually on its way to Vietnam here. So something we'll have to keep an eye on. Something bigger behind it, though. Come the 9th, watch this. Just east of the Philippines, we have this large area of low pressure here, just east of the Philippines. And as we go out here in time, let's take a look. Yeah, that moves through the Philippines, potentially becoming a tropical depression or storm by the 11th. And look at how this blows up. It kind of gets caught up in a very, very weak flow here by the 14th. Look what's happening. It tries to come back towards the Philippines, the area that it just came off of, a couple days earlier. So something to keep an eye on. What's going on up here in Japan? Well, a lot of synoptic lows. Yeah, these are synoptic lows for the most part, but there is an area that may become a typhoon by the 12th. Where is this system going? So as we continue to put this into motion, it looks like it gets picked up by a couple of these synoptic systems. So that would be great news. It would move it off to the northeast here, away from Japan. We'll keep an eye on it here. All right, so the HRRR model, as we go throughout the rest of the night into Friday morning, you can see what's going on here. Let's just back this up a little bit. Ohio Valley going to get some much-needed rain here. So as we head through like 11 p.m., midnight, 1 p.m., you got some shower and thunder shower activity moving through Cleveland, Columbus, down through eastern Kentucky, and all the way down towards the Gulf Coast here. So essentially what's going on here is we have an area of low pressure moving through with an associated cold front. It's extending southward just like this. So yeah, behind it, it's going to be much cooler. Out ahead of it, we got those southerly winds, but this is the system that's going to combine forces with our East Coast associated with Philippe here. So let's look. Showers and thunderstorms. That's an actually big squall line here moving through eastern Ontario and Quebec as we head through 9 a.m. on Friday. Now look what starts to happen. These showers and thunder showers start to congeal here across the northeast. You're in and around New York City. You definitely do not want to hear that. But as you can see here towards October 6th and 7th, these showers and thunderstorms are really intensifying here. Friday evening, as you can see, a line of very strong thunderstorms here with very heavy rain from southern Quebec all the way down to New York and Pennsylvania, down in through parts of Virginia here. Look at that. That's continuing to move towards the northeast here. And as you can see, that system kind of congeals. There is Philippe. HRRR taking this a bit west of guidance. Let's take a look here. This is 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. Look at the shower and thunderstorm activity across parts of the Hudson Valley, Catskills, Poconos, all the way down into the Virginias here. This actually kind of ends here in the Carolinas, but look at the eastern part of New England here. Yeah, the outer bands start to reach 2 p.m. on Saturday. So what's going to start happening is this area of shielded precipitation is going to start to pivot back towards the west and southwest and kind of congeal with this. So this is rather interesting. U.S. and Canadian weather. Let's take a look at your synoptic trend here. Look at what's going on here across eastern Canada. That is in response to what's left of Philippe being absorbed by a massive inland cyclone here. Most of the rest of North America looks pretty dry as we head throughout the week. And it'll just be the northeast and eastern Canada getting pummeled here with tremendous amounts of wind and rain. But look at this. As we head next week around the 12th, yeah, we got a couple areas of concern here. Let's just back that up a second. That went a little too fast there. There we go. So here we go. Right around the 11th, we start to get the telltale signs here of a severe weather outbreak. And look at this. This is going to be tremendous rainfall. I know you need the rain into parts of the south, but this is going to be just a tad bit ridiculous here. Let's take a look. It is interesting, though. There's the area of low pressure coming from our potential crossover storm from the Pacific. Look what's going on up here in Canada, though. This is a massive area of high pressure here across Hudson Bay. That is going to be keeping most of Canada's weather in the clear. Get out there and enjoy it. Enjoy what fall color there is left. Look at this, though. This is looking really nasty here along the southeast coast as we get into the 12th. We still got some severe weather problems out here in parts of the plains. And then we start to finally get some rainfall here across parts of the Ohio Valley as we get into the Friday the 13th here. You can see some overrunning precipitation with a warm front that's moving across the area. So that may cause some problems for your weekend as we get an area of low pressure developing inland. Still, it looks like Canada is being dominated by a lot of high pressure up here. That is great if you want to enjoy the great outdoors before your harsh winter sets in. Now look at here across the northeast. You can see a nor'easter seems to be taking effect. Well, can you call it a nor'easter? It looks like there's an area of low pressure trying to develop out here with a low pressure transfer. So the trend is to have our weekends filled with terrible weather across the lakes in the northeast. This is a very bad pattern to get into. And here's a quick word from my affiliate. Stay with me here. I've got plenty more weather right after this. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. So taking a look at the overall weather pattern here on our European model, there's that massive trough kicking across the eastern United States, that massive block up here into parts of Greenland. That system's not moving here out of here anytime soon. You can see a massive ridge developing out west. That means trouble back east. That low pressure system trough is just going to expand it as it has nowhere to go north or northeast or even east. So look what happens. Most of the United States is engulfed in a trough by the middle to latter part of next week. And Canada is in a ridge. But you see that massive trough reconsolidates over the eastern part of the United States and southeast Canada by the following weekend, right around October 15th. Temperature-wise, this is looking rather interesting. As you can see here Friday, this is heading eastward. We got one more warm day in the northeast into the lower 70s, but watch this. Yeah, the bottom just completely drops out behind it. Look at that area of 50s, expanding as far south as parts of Tennessee and Kentucky. As we head into Sunday here, that just reinforces essentially what's going on here. You can see across the lakes is lower 50s, maybe even some upper 40s in some of these areas. Heat, well, actually Texas is looking temperate here into the 70s, even northern Florida into the 70s. You have to go into South Florida here for some 80s and close to 90. But as we head towards Monday out here, you see the heat building again out west. We're trying to recover here across the northeast and the Great Lakes, stuck in the 50s with those clouds and lake effect rain showers, and that just continues on into Tuesday here, October 10th. You know, we're going to slowly try to moderate this. It's actually looking a lot better by Wednesday, right around 60 degrees, the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast. You can't beat that this time of year. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton's upper Susquehanna River Valley of upstate New York, Northeast Pennsylvania from Binghamton to Scranton. Look at this Friday all the way through early next week. Yeah, the clouds roll in Friday, a chance of showers, especially after 3 p.m. Showers develop Friday night, a chance of thunderstorms as well into Saturday. We're going to get anywhere from about close to about 1 to 1.5 inches of rain. So we're going to pile up the rain. It's going to struggle to reach 60 on Saturday. The winds are going to really start to kick in later towards the weekend, like Sunday. You know, partly sunny, but some lake effect showers, 25, maybe 35 mile per hour wind gusts into Sunday night, getting down into the 30s for Monday, Tuesday, and into the middle part of next week. We try to get a warming trend, but we'll get those lake effect showers developing off the Finger Lakes and Lake Ontario. As always, thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Take a look at my Facebook page at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern to follow the tropics. And if you want to hop over to my Twitter page, it's at Weather Eastern. It's MeteoMark.com. Thanks for joining me. Question or comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification button so you're alerted when a video comes out.